4K TV sitting in your technology is fast advancing. The question is, why isn't our broadcasting advancing that fast? During the Euros, certain matches were broadcast in HD, and we were promised 4K. Now, we're going to have a conversation about that to find out why every single broadcasting company in Ghana is not ready to push full HD. Now, when I say full HD, I'm talking about 1080p or 1080i, depending. And as we can see from most of the TV channels, and I'm turning around to look at one right now, I can barely see the man's face. And this is a beautiful LED panel over here, capable of 4K, but I'm looking at content that is possibly 480p. Now, for those who don't know, I'm sure you should know this by now, but for those who don't know, it's measured. Our content is measured by length times breadth. So when you hear 1080p, that's 1920 pixels, and each pixel is a dot across the screen, and then 1080 pixels down. So horizontally 1080, vertically 1080, horizontally 1920, and then 720 is 1280, then 720 vertical. So you're talking about pixels, every single dot. So these dots come together to create an image you're seeing on your TV. That's how come when sometimes something happens to your TV, you have a line. It means that dead pixels. Good. So quite a very technical introduction, but I hope I was able to break it down. But we will break it down further in the conversation. I have with me the usual suspects, Michael and Winston. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Good evening, listeners. I hope you had a wonderful week so far.
Look, you're not that pained. It brings out love and happiness in your voice. Even Spiky's pun at the beginning of the show was not that painful. Painful, yeah, but it wasn't that painful.
Come on. I mean, speaking of which, if you're watching us on Facebook or if you're listening to us on the radio, you might want to check us out on Facebook or YouTube. It seems to be a hair day on Geek Squad today. 3 out of 4 of the guests.
We all count, because if anyone wants to point out, well, my Michael's hair looks normal. I've been cutting my own hair for the past 2 years. If my barber is watching, I am very, very sorry.
I wonder how you're able to get to the back.
Trust me, it's a funny process.
And it involves several cameras and things,
Cameras, not even mirrors. I was expecting mirrors.
What am I doing mirrors? Is that we're in the 21st century?
So I'm not the only person who uses cameras to shave.
There you go.
And then we have Kofi Tando. Kofi is an expert broadcast engineer. Hi, Kofi.
Hello, Spiky.
Yes. And I had to drag you into the studio. I know you're in town for a few days, but yes, we had to drag you in here to have this conversation.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to say about broadcast environment.
Yes, considering that you have gone to get a different exposure somewhere, and we'll be tapping into that in a bit. We'll also be joined shortly by your other colleague Raymond, who's also another broadcast engineer. I don't know whether he's on a mast somewhere or something, but he says he'll be joining us. Anyways, great. So Kofi, I'm going to start with you. No. You know what? Let me ask Michael and Winston. When was the last time you guys watched TV? I really want to know. Not
Define
speaking
TV.
about.
For me, I would say
Regular GTV,
regular television.
TV3.
I think for me, the last time I watched regular TV on a TV,
Regular TV on a TV. What are you going to watch regular TV
you
on?
know, some of these networks stream whatever they show on other social media platforms.
So that one, you're watching a stream, you're not watching TV.
So when we're talking about like regular TV, I will say last year, because I have I have a very interesting guilty pleasure, and that is I love Kumawood. Yeah, I've said it. I love Kumawood.
Are you a Kumerican?
Partly.
Asaka.
Partly, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I love Kumawood. So I used to watch a lot of TV back then. In the morning, they show some Kumawood stuff, and that's about it. Till the dogs wrecked the cables, and yeah, that's it.
So then you don't watch TV. So why are we even having this conversation with you guys? Michael, when was the last time you watched TV?
I mean, if you're confused about why you're having a conversation, that's why you're asking me this question. I mean, I do, like, on purpose, like I got there and said, let me watch what is going on TV. I do not remember that.
But you do watch certain television programs being streamed?
Aside Geek Squad?
Aside Geek Squad, yes.
No.
Winston, same for you?
So there's this dating show that is all the rave. And
Right.
anytime I make up my mind that I really want to see this, I somehow forget. So no, no for me as well.
I don't watch it because I just watch the reactions on social media
Yeah.
like a normal person.
I mean, this should be a poll. Dennis, if you're listening, I want to know the percentage of people who actually watch TV,
On
you know,
TV.
intentionally watch TV on the TV
Yes.
versus those who watch TV via stream or via social media. So let's say you want to watch the news. Are you going to watch it on your TV, tuning into that TV channel, or are you watching a stream?
Oh, I should ask, what channels are we talking about?
Well, the local channels.
Okay, because they don't show Formula One, so that doesn't count.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
look behind you.
Yes.
Oh, we are watching TV.
Remember this, and compare it to what you saw before.
Yes.
We'll get back to it.
Good. Yes. So the quality of this one is much better than the previous one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've gotten that out of the way. We know that Generation Z, Generation Y, and the millennials are fast moving away from TV.
Let me put context to my own real quick. Yeah. When I was getting my TV and everything set up, I was asked because cables were being run. Oh,
Yeah.
do you want the antenna? Do you want the DSTV? And I said no. I do not want them. I do not need them, and that's been it. Never looked back since.
Yeah. I mean, the floodgates of content is so much that, by and large, you can survive without.
You actually have
Local
to,
TV.
You actually have to take content away from yourself, because if you say, "Oh, you're just going to yourself up to everything," you just be swimming in content and
Well-
then realize that you can't float.
The fact that you guys threw this content word around like this is very worrying, because I tried watching local TV and trust me, 90% of the channels were not stuff that I wanted to consume. It was either screaming men who were trying to cast away demons or
To be honest, if we really want to get into my experience watching TV, because there was a huge period where I never watched TV, and then last year during the COVID era, I actually spent a lot of time watching TV. I have a lot to say, but I guess it's a conversation for another time. Let's deal with the technical stuff now.
Right, so Kofi, to you now. I believe that a lot more people would be attracted to TV content if the content looked that good. I think that's also it plays a part, because if I were to be watching this, and mind you, the reason I'm using this as an example is if we're watching Geek Squad being broadcast on TV versus when we're watching the stream on YouTube, the difference is clear.
Yeah.
And yeah, pun intended, is very clear. The pixels are clear. So why would I put my eyes through the stress, as you can see behind me, when I could just go watch the stream, which is a better quality? And what's, for the beginning of the conversation, why do we have to deal with this quality?
Okay, so the question is the how. The how the content is delivered.
Right.
So you're talking about satellite, you're talking about terrestrial transmission. That is entirely different from data packets being sent over a stream, because with that, it's exactly what you send is what you receive on the end, unless there's some disturbance somewhere and you drop packets. But when it comes to satellite broadcasting and when it comes to terrestrial broadcasting, you're looking at some sort of encoding.
You're
And
going to have to break down some of the terms.
Okay.
Satellite, we know. That's
so,
the ones
yes,
in space.
terrestrial is what we usually connect the TV pole to, and then we
scan.
scan and then we get on our TVs, yes. So those two forms usually go through some form of encoding, and then it is multiplexed before it goes out to the antenna, and then everybody can scan and receive. The problem is that it requires a bit of bandwidth. So imagine trying to get water through a water hose. The bigger your hose, the more water you can gush out. And the smaller your hose, it means that you are getting very little water, and then if anything, you have to force it out.
Right.
So from the little I've observed and experienced, we are not doing broadcasting on very large bandwidth. So we are having to compress a lot. we're having to compress a whole lot to be able to put as many channels on a really small bandwidth.
So basically, our water hose is very small.
Very, very
And
small.
we're passing a lot of channels through that.
Exactly.
And that means that each one has to be a very thin line to pass through it.
Very thin line.
Makes sense.
So that's what's happening, and that's why the quality of what we see on TV is terrible.
Whose fault is it that the water hose is so small?
This table that you want to rock, I'm not sure we should go there.
Is it the
but-
gardener or the house owner?
That's the question. Is it the gardener or the house owner? Because you are looking at business owners, you're looking at sometimes government, and you're looking at who should invest in what.
So it's a cost issue.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
It's if you have money, you can widen your
Open it
gap
up. Mm.
and then push as much as you can. But we are all trying to chisel the bandwidth more so that we can put plenty people inside. I mean, scan your TV and see how, and this is just Accra.
Yeah.
There's a national grid as well. So scan your TV in Accra and see how many channels pop up. Over how many? I've lost
Yeah.
track.
So
Like
many.
30.
It's a whole lot.
And
It's like
it is-
every church now has a TV station.
and it's not as though the more channels that pop up, the bandwidth is widened.
Oh, it's still the same one.
Exactly. So
Right.
we are squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing
To fit in there.
to fit in. So it's like Trotto make full, but still somebody for enter. So
The mate is sitting outside.
Achaya. You get. So the mate is standing outside for somebody to sit down.
Mm.
It doesn't make the experience of the Trotto any more comfortable than it should be.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, so does that mean that the more channels that we're getting, the worse our TV channel qualities are going to be?
Technically and ideally, it shouldn't be like that. There should be a number of transmitters. I mean, back in the day, TV3 had their own transmitter, Metro had their own transmitter, and GTV had their own transmitter.
Yeah.
But now it's a bit
This
more...
was in the analog days.
This was in the analog days. Now it's a bit more centralized. So it's like everybody is moving their signal to one transmission site, and it's all being put together and being over one transmitter. So you'll find that the quality that somebody would want to have now translates into how much he can pay for bandwidth.
Right.
So if you can't afford as much bandwidth, you join the cattle class and then we all go.
Okay. I think I get it now. So if you are able to pay for more, you can get HD and 4K.
Yeah.
So
If you get money, you can move your channel. Your
you can
channel
move
will
your
look
channel
sweet.
straight to HD or 4K.
If you have the money, you can move it.
Right. So it's a money matter.
As it stands, I won't call it a money matter, but it is an investment matter.
Right. Because yes, if you invest that amount of money into creating a channel that is broadcasting in HD and 4K, you need to make the revenue that's going to pay for it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have a question,
Right.
right? So definitely, when we are looking at the influx of some of these devices, I'm certain there's some data on how many TVs of HD, full HD, and then 4K capabilities are on the streets or on the market, or even have been purchased. I mean, I feel like that's what the TV license was targeted at. I don't know. I don't remember the details of that. That was a funny time. But with that information, would it not? I mean, I'm sure there are more people who have at least a full HD TV than a cathode ray box. Wouldn't those numbers be enough to suffice for an investment, an over, like a thorough investment across all board from, should I say, the house owner? Because right now it's sounding like the gardener, to make his or her job easier, they have to go and find the bigger hose.
Yes and no. In the sense that the fact that you can afford to put 21-inch wheels on your car doesn't mean that...
It's a good idea.
It doesn't even mean that they should clear the road. Or because you've got a monster truck, they should turn the road into an off-road
For everybody.
situation for
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah.
You get it. The TV producers you have to bear in mind that as technology progresses, it becomes more expensive to hold on to older technology. So nobody's producing with SD in mind. Everybody's producing with HD and 4K in mind. But by and large, I think 98% of TV channels in Ghana are all transmitting in SD.
Which is
Standard definition, which is
576.
576, 720 by 576.
Which is actually a square.
Not necessarily.
Like almost a square.
Yes, almost.
Considering that you still have letterboxes, you have black frames on the sides. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ratio 4:3.
Yeah, 4:3 ratio. Yes, but most of our TVs are 16:9 ratio.
You can still get 16 by 9 aspect ratio on a 720 by 576.
Do you stretch it?
Yeah, you have to stretch it.
So you. Okay, so let's not confuse aspect ratio and resolution.
Okay.
Those are things that people confuse a lot. You can still get widescreen, which is standard definition, and then you can have the 4:3 square, which is also standard definition. And even with Instagram, you'll find that Instagram started a culture where you would push HD in a box. So it's not so much the aspect ratio, but the resolution itself. A lot of channels are transmitting in SD because that has been the general standard. And that's what our bandwidth can force us to do with the number of channels we have and the costing available. So if you wanted to do HD, you would be the costing looking at you would be completely different from the guy doing SD. But then it comes back to those producing the TVs, because they don't give, no channel is getting commission from TVs produced. This might take us back into that TV license conversation, but no channel is getting any commission from the TVs produced, the TVs sold. So the channel owners are not obliged to tune their production and their transmission to the type of TV.
Right.
Okay.
But then again, when the TV license conversation was going on, I put out a post on Facebook and I put a BBC studio right next to a GTV studio. And my caption was, they take TV license and we see why.
Well, let me ask you this. Would BBC get commission from TV sold?
BBC is heavily funded
Yeah.
by the state, and this comes mostly from TV license.
Right.
And average TV license is £150
Annually?
a year.
Right.
BBC's budget is an easy 300-400 million a year.
I'm sure it's even more.
Even more.
Because
So-
BBC has
so-
BBC
so-
One.
BBC is heavily funded, so they can afford. I mean, early this year, BBC Wales, the entire infrastructure went IP.
What does this mean?
So they are completely network based.
Okay, so no satellite.
No, as in in-house within production and everything is completely IP based. There's hardly any copper.
Okay.
There's no HDMI. It's all IP cameras,
Wow.
IP sound. Everything is IP based. The entire building is IP based.
Okay. So, Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. Choose your own bundle, your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. Just dial *138# and enjoy bundles that don't expire, so you can watch Geek Squad as we stream it and not on your TV. Yeah. You can join us on the conversation by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. 055 11 11 997. I want to know from you, do you have a TV? And why did you buy a TV? To plug your hard drive in it to watch movies? Or do you have an antenna connected to it? Or do you have some satellite or set-top box or decoder? Or like me, your laptop is connected to your TV and whatever is on your laptop is showing on it. So I've got a question. I've got a WhatsApp message here from Nana Kwesi. Nana Kwesi says, the idea of buying a TV now is the last thing on my list because of my laptop. thing is, the time I would use to watch TV is occupied with a lot of movies on a waiting to be watched list. So it doesn't hit me to buy a TV. I've not watched TV since 2018. Surprised, huh? Yeah, that's me. That's from Nana Kwesi. So Nana Kwesi says he hasn't watched TV since 2018. So who are we producing the content for?
Can we get an update on the poll, if the poll has been?
Yeah. So
set up?
one Dennis will definitely share it with me. Now, Kofi, back to you. And you see, it's I wish we had statistics, backing. There are some statistics, but they are digital statistics, so they don't inform the traditional TV, conversation. But there are statistics that inform how content is being consumed on phones and laptops and smart TVs. And the question is, will this influx of, streaming platforms and social media carrying content, because if Nana Kwesi, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of people like him, don't watch TV anymore because they can get the news on social media, they can get to watch whatever it is that has been broadcast on TV streamed. For instance, a football match, I know most people right now always go and you check the Google search trends, and Manchester versus Chelsea watch live on Google search. People want to watch it online. One, because the quality will be better than what they would get on their terrestrial box or whatnot. So, Kofi, the question is, do we see this happening? Would the content get better in the near future for people to put down their phones, consume that content on their TV, rather than buying data to consume it on their phones or laptops?
To add to his question, or do you think many of these traditional TV stations would switch to an OTT of some sort?
Truth is, traditional TV will never go away. It won't. And I'm just coming from a very, how these British people are hard in their ways and they don't want to change anything. Like, if OTT is able to overtake traditional TV in England, then you know that TV has a problem. But it's not going to go away. One, because it's still cheaper to produce and transmit on regular TV, regular satellite, than it is on OTT. Because the infrastructure you need to have to be able to do OTT and do it properly.
Someone just texted me and said, what is OTT? One touch triangle. What on earth is one touch triangle?
So all the Netflix that you people have been watching is
OTT. So what's the full meaning of OTT?
Over the top.
Over the top.
Yes.
Why the TV is not over the top? Most people's TVs are on the top.
My friend.
See what we have to deal with
My
on
friend.
a weekly basis.
Well, no,
you guys
listen,
are
you have to allow me, because we need to break it down for people. That's the whole essence of Geek Squad. We're not. Everyone listening is not a geek. Everyone listening doesn't just hear over the top or over the air and understand what it is. My mother probably doesn't know what OTT is, so let's break it down for my mother.
Okay,
Over the top of the ceiling.
But then, like I'm saying, it's not, traditional TV is not going to go away anytime soon. There's still investment being done in terrestrial. There's still investment being done in satellite. So it's not going away anytime soon. However, are we positioning ourselves? The real question is, are we positioning ourselves to be able to increase the quality that we churn out? Have you taken a look at the Ghana Premier League on TV? Why is it any different from the EPL, for instance? I dare say that you will watch the EPL in standard definition and it will look much better than the Ghana Premier League. Because it's also a workflow matter. If your workflow is in HD or in 4K, even if you step it down, you are more likely to keep a higher quality than if you worked in SD.
I learned this from KBHD.
But here's the catch. I can tell you for fact that the Ghana Premier League is produced in HD, but it still looks crap.
Well, 720p.
No, it's produced in 1080 HD.
So full HD.
Wow.
but it still looks the way it does. We also have equipment things to look at, the type of equipment that we're dealing with. And okay, Raymond has just walked in. He will talk plenty on that. The type of equipment that we are working with in this country. A lot of people are doing to cut costs. We are working with entry-level BMDs and
See, this
all
guy is
over the
throwing
place.
technical BM Bayerish motoring.
no, I don't want to do any brand marketing here. That's what I'm
Okay,
doing.
okay.
Uh-huh.
That
So
makes
we are
sense.
we are dealing with a lot of entry level stuff.
Right.
Things that you should do for your DIY project is what we are using for
Full
the
production.
pro environment.
Mm.
If Raymond gives you a bill for a pro system,
Which he has before.
people will say that why are we going to heaven? Like
I think that
it
pretty
costs-
much cuts
it
across
costs an arm
everything
and
in
a leg.
Ghana.
It costs an arm and a leg generally to use the right equipment. So now people are finding ways of using the DIY things
To make it happen.
to enter the professional space, and
Right.
that's also contributing to the kind of qualities that we have.
Raymond, welcome.
Thank you, Spiky.
Straight to you. You were part of the team that broadcast the Euro in HD and 4K,
Yeah.
right? How was that possible? Because we know, a lot of people in Ghana, when you tell them that, we can broadcast HD and 4K in Ghana, like in Ghana, because they think that, we need to change everything from the electricity cables to the pipelines under the ground before we can broadcast HD and 4K. How does this work?
Okay, so technically speaking, a lot of the infrastructure is already available right now
Right.
for HD and 4K in the system. So the whole process for HD, as you speak today, there are HD channels on the satellite, on the multi-TV satellite. The process it takes, right, and the bandwidth it takes is already available. The issue is with the cost. I was listening to Kofi when he was coming, and it's always been the issue, how much it costs for one channel, and on the broadcast side, how much you need to do proper HD. Now, there's a difference between just HD because your resolution is there and the amount of real bandwidth that you need. So if we want to talk numbers, like if you're doing, say, a proper HD channel, you need a minimum of around 6 to 8 meg per second. For data, that's not much. But for satellite, that's a lot. And that's really, really expensive. Considering that your standard SD channels are doing 1.2 megabits per second. So you're talking a lot of channels just to do one channel. Now, for 4K...
So I take like 6 channels to broadcast one channel.
HD
in
channel.
Oh, wow.
Now, for 4K, you need a minimum of 25 meg per second. And that's what we did. So for the Euros that we
So
broadcasted...
25 channels were sacrificed in order to bring you this.
we literally had to open a whole new transponder on a satellite.
Wow.
Right? This was championed by SES, KNet, and Silicon House Productions. So what happened was a whole new transponder had to be opened. A whole new production services have to be set up for this. So you realize that not everybody's TV could get it because it was being transmitted on a dedicated and a special package.
Yeah.
Now, for us to do that on a daily basis, like a 24/7 channel, a whole transponder can run into millions of dollars a year. So, and a transponder is just about 60 meg, give or take. So if you're using,
It's only 2.
only 2 channels can go on a transponder.
So now you understand the water hose analogy, right? Okay.
So it's that expensive. And so nobody would go out of their way. I don't know which investor would go out of their way to go for a 4K 24/7 channel.
I mean, how many Ghanaians are asking for 4K? Yeah, let's go.
No, it was really a hit.
Oh, wow.
It was a big
I mean,
hit.
it's football we're
That's
talking
what I was going
about.
to say. It is football. It is going to be a
Imagine
hit.
boxing.
Which means it would probably translate to the telenovelas and all those other
The
things.
thing is
Nobody's
that-
trying to look at
You would be.
kisses.
You aren't trying to.
So the thing too is that the bigger problem is a lot of Ghanaians are not willing to pay to watch TV.
Yeah.
That's where the bigger issue is. On the DSTV platform, you are paying to watch the TV. They can afford to go a certain mileage. But on the vast majority of people who are watching TV, they're watching free TV,
Free to air.
free to air TV. You
Which
get it?
makes sense why the whole TV license conversation was very
Yeah.
you know, people fighting it because to them, what content am I getting? Why should I pay TV license? But if the conversation had been turned around for people to understand that if the investment is made, then the content can be improved, or the content quality, not the content, the content quality can be improved.
I'm guessing
Maybe they would pay.
we call Ghanaians at a bad time because
Well, yeah.
Let's
don't-
skip this.
I don't think the explanation went down well enough.
Yes.
Because when I was coming, I was listening, and what Kofi did say was true. In the UK, the BBC is spending close to 90 billion. Because he mentioned the figure, I was like, if he knows the actual figure, people will scream.
90
It's
what?
90 billion.
That makes sense.
Annually.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You get, and most of it comes from TV license. A household is paying around
150
200 and something per TV. You get it, and there are 60 something billion people in the UK. You get it, and so they can afford this kind of services. BBC literally has a channel per city.
And the fine for not paying
Is worse.
your TV license is an easy £1,000.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, let me read a few messages. We'll go for a quick commercial break and we'll come back. Good evening, guys. Yes, I have a TV, but I hardly watch it because the content for me is poor. So I watch anything on my phone. That's Efo Maoli from La Paz. Mr. Nkrumah, Kobby Spiky, I watch TV only on Joy News, but use my pen drive weekends since I'm yet to buy a new laptop again. My Google Pixel 3a. So we know who that's from. So, yeah, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll try and break down some of the technicalities of this whole situation.
Hello, class. Mental. What is 2 and 3?
23!
2 and 4?
24!
2 and 5?
Sonata!
It's been 25 amazing years with you. And to celebrate this huge milestone, we're giving away 25 brand new sleek Hyundai Sonata vehicles and lots of exciting prizes in the MTN at 25 promo. Just keep using your MTN number and talk, text, browse, and Momo more to gain points. And you could win one of 25 brand new sleek Hyundai Sonata vehicles and lots of cash prizes each month in the MTN at 25 promo. Dial star 156 hash today and begin your journey to win big, only on MTN, everywhere you go.
Geek Squad.
And we're back. We're in the Momo month, and now's the time to activate your MTN Momo account. You just have to dial star 170 hash for MTN Momo, select your 4-digit PIN number, and follow the prompts. The best part is, all new Momo subscribers from now till the end of September stand a chance to win a cool 50 CDs when they make more than 3 transactions on MTN Momo within the first week of the registration. The more you send and receive cash this MTN Momo month, the higher your chances of winning. Another thing, your first transaction of up to 100 cities every day is also free of charge at no service fee. Activate now and just Momo it everywhere you go. So, hi geeks, how's 4K streaming going to beat the delay, especially in sports compared to digital or satellite spectrum? Raymond, since you did this, how is it going to beat the delay?
It's the same thing, right?
Right.
The issue is not about the encoding or the processing or anything. It's just about how much space you're going to give it on the platform. So when we did it, I think we were ahead of online. SD was ahead of us, definitely, because we had to re-encode. It came down to the Silicon House studios, then we produced it there and sent it back to satellite. So there was a bit of a process.
Why did you have to re-encode?
Because there are standards you need to meet. Right, the TV standard in Ghana uses 50p, 50i. Sorry,
50i.
Yeah, but
Which
the
one
signal we're
was the
receiving
50i? So it needs 50 eyes to watch it.
No, 50 frames per second.
So
interlaced.
interlaced.
Yeah.
Aha. So
But
and then the
signal
P is
we're
what?
getting was progressive.
Progressive.
Yeah, 25 frames per second progressive. So we have to do that conversion.
Right.
Yeah, and then of course the.
So it means that you were doing
Nathaniel
interpolation. Because if you're taking 25 and making it 50,
Kobby. The progressive process, the progressive pictures are a bit more compressed, like a bit more, have a bit more detail than the interlaced ones.
right.
Right? And broadcast doesn't take progressive pictures, it takes only interlaced pictures. So we're definitely converting some details from here.
Let me ask another question before you finish. So if we take a progressive and we broadcast it instead of interlaced, what will happen? Will
More
the what?
More bandwidth.
Ah, I thought maybe like the people start going backwards. Anyways, okay, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, you had to take it and then re-encode it for
And we had to
broadcast.
inject the studio production that was happening with Nathaniel and
Right.
Lai and all that stuff. So we needed to create a different intersection so that we are getting the video, the live stadium feed. We pause it, we put the studio in there, and then we go back to the stadium whenever there's a.
Man, y'all are working.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. It was fun. It was fun.
I
Not
wish-
that
I
we've
wish
not
we had
done
been
TV
there.
production before,
Yeah.
but doing it in 4K was an experience.
I mean,
Oh,
you
ju-
say you wish you had been there. It's not as if they're actually mixing and washing the thing like it's at a, that's a.
But the way the man is saying it, it sounds like, you know, they're taking the thing and then they're putting it inside this and they stir it a bit and they push some buttons and you know how Hollywood makes hacking look so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it in my eyes right now. Like Raymond is sitting there with like 16 monitors. You drag this Minority Report style, throw it
Yeah.
here, take this one, throw it here. You know.
Oh, but
The multimedia squad was the Mauli, what's it?
See, you come to attempt to do shout outs and you're forgetting names.
They were there. They were really. I think the production was actually handled by multimedia.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
We
so,
just-
you know, I mean, yeah. yeah, we
just
did
provided
this,
the
you know.
technical
Yeah.
capacities for them to do that.
We
right?
did
Yeah.
this. We did this. Shout outs to multimedia, you know. Yeah,
so
we
I have
are-
an update
Oh,
with the poll.
right.
Quite interesting.
Tell me.
75 votes.
Mhm.
The first part of the poll is I watch local TV stations. Second is I stream content on my TV. Surprisingly enough, I watch local TV stations winning with 65%.
Told you.
And I stream content has. Okay, now it's just changed. It's 63% to 37%.
You know why this is a thing? Data is expensive. I mean, that's pretty
It's
much it.
expensive both ways. You know, it's
And-
expensive for the broadcaster. It's
And
expensive.
like I said, traditional TV is not going to die anytime soon. Even though we think that
Digital is
streaming
coming and, you
is
know.
easy and everybody who has a phone or device can stream, traditional TV is not going away anytime soon.
I mean, I think the peak of the COVID era, when a lot of people were in lockdown, showed us how not so strong the streaming platform was, considering that a lot of streaming services had to cut down from 4K because they had a whole lot of pressure.
Load. Yeah.
I don't think that would have happened with TV. It doesn't matter if 2 billion people are watching the same channel, the value is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But I have a question now.
Right.
Now we are taking into consideration the country we live in. All right. And if. So my reason for saying that I feel like I can't believe I'm bringing this back here, but that the TV license thing came at a bad time was that, to be honest, back in the day, I loved watching TV. I loved watching TV so much that I even used to watch Sixth Match.
dude, you didn't have a choice.
I actually did. I could go outside and play.
Not when it was raining.
I loved the rain, which is that. Yeah, I used to walk in the rain. This is not a memory lane type of thing, right? So I'm saying that back then there was a lot of interesting content. We are talking about the areas of things we do for love and stuff like that. Now, if back then I was posited, I was told that to get content this good or improved, I had to pay. I feel like the general consensus across board would be like, oh, okay, all right. But after so many years where unfortunately I'm going to say this, TV has kind of flunked in terms of quality and entertainment, and I don't mean this is a personal statement. So for me, it's like that's what many people are saying. They want the content to be good before they pay for it.
That's also the inverse.
Yeah,
Of the way it's supposed
Yeah.
to go. But this is naturally because the way we as Ghanaians
it's the orientation, basically.
it's the way we are. It's like if it was good and I was told that to keep this up I need to pay, it's an easier pill to swallow than, oh, this is bad. To make it become good, this is the X amount of
So
money. This is the same
basically-
situation with the DIY stuff you guys were talking about. It's like if I have to spend thousands of dollars to get this done and then nobody is going to particularly appreciate it, so I can just wing it for a couple of hundred, I will take the hundreds.
And use webcams
Yes,
instead
so
of
that's why I
cameras.
say that the situation is inverted right
Okay.
now. Because if people were willing to pay for it, would have gone on and made an investment. But it seems as if when the TV license discussion came up, nobody liked it. So why would any investor in the media go out of their way to spend millions of dollars to produce content
Oh.
for you to watch for free?
I believe.
Okay, so I see what you are saying. What
Yeah.
you're saying is that if there was some positive
Yes.
inclination towards the TV
Yes.
license, someone else would have footed the bill to
Yes.
make it happen.
Yes.
And then they cover it up after.
Yes.
Okay, that checks
Because
out.
that's the difference between why DSTV can't afford to show all of the matches that you want to watch.
Because people will pay.
Because you
But
pay
you
the
see,
license,
that's the
you
thing.
pay for the subscription.
I believe that it's both sides. Both sides make sense. It's which one comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Egg, yes.
You know, like does the content come first for the people to appreciate it, or do the people appreciate the fact that they can get the content and then therefore make that commitment?
Yeah,
DSTV, as we
somebody
know
has to
it,
step forward. The question is
have
who?
been serving content.
Look, here's a direct, relatable example to us.
Mind you, you've been quiet, awfully quiet.
Yeah, I haven't quite, because I was one of those that said, "Well, what, pay your TV license?" I was like, to see more of this, no thank you. So I know myself. I was really like, who was saying that they shouldn't pay? It was me. Yes, I admit it now. I was someone. Think about it this way, right? Top Gear, when it started, we've gone. Winter and I have done leave back in time, and we saw what the early episodes of Top Gear are like, and they were atrocious. Very, very niche, very, very small. But all of that still came from the same budget that the BBC were using, that they were all getting from the TV licenses. And then one day, well, not one day, season 3 came and it exploded, and it's still the same amount that people are paying for their TV licenses, the same level of quality. And look at what happened there. Now, and at its height, it became a global sensation. At one point, it was the most pirated TV show before Game of Thrones came along. But that's a different aspect, and that's even a niche example that we can relate to. The BBC have produced, hundreds. I won't say thousands, hundreds
Lots
of
and lots of good content.
amazing content. In fact, you can attribute some of the things we know now in pop culture to stuff that came directly from the era of BBC, and not just in the 90s and 2000s. Going way back to even let me not say the 50s. Let's say the 60s, 70s, 80s. All because they were paying their TV licenses.
Let me even add to that, right? A lot of the broadcast technologies we use comes from the BBC.
I don't want to talk about that because
But,
I
but
don't
you,
want to talk
but
about.
you can't
I
get
don't
out
know.
of it.
I can't. I don't want to talk about that. If Kofi was here, he would weep. Watching Ansa, Beat Menace, he would weep because he has, and you two have as well, the intimate knowledge about the amount of high-end equipment that the BBC gave to Ghana to use for free, that is even still being kept under the same top it arrived in the 1970s and 80s and hasn't been touched.
Yeah, but the inverse of what you're saying too is that you can't hand over equipment to somebody and think that something will happen. It doesn't work that way, though. When you hand over the equipment, some money has to follow.
Hey.
Because if you get 4 actors in this room to do a production right now, it's going to cost a lot.
I will draw you back to that things we do for love.
Yeah. Example. Yeah.
The example. It was well funded.
Yes.
Even the follow-up, the sequel to it,
Yes.
YOLO. or
YOLO.
something,
It was
funded by
well
the
funded.
USAID.
It was well funded, so it came out good.
I mean, just look at wedding videos. If you pay a lot of money, your wedding video comes out looking very good.
Yes.
If you hire me, your wedding videos will
I
come
feel
out
I
looking
feel
like a
Spikey is
slideshow.
shooting at baby. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I used to do.
He was looking at you as he said it too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen. So it all comes down to the fact that people need to make money. I mean, Geek Squad production would have been sitting inside Tesla's manufacturing factory if we had some serious, advertisers, sponsors putting money, saying that we want to see more Geek Squad
that's
stuff.
going too far. Like we would be sitting inside Asus's showroom with our brand new laptops.
We are still on this.
Yes, our brand new
It's
Pro
not
Duo laptops. with the full spec versions with the 64 gig memory RAM. Yeah, sponsors, the ones I've been asking for since for all the years we've been on the Geek Squad, those ones. That's where we would have been for you, but you pay for us. Now here we are.
You said people shouldn't pay. You said people shouldn't pay TV license.
I said this, no, because I said the same arguments I've been making that what do you call it? Our taxes still go into GTV's production, and granted, it is not the greatest investment. However, you don't? Okay, no, you actually no. You know what? You say better than I can, but it doesn't. GTV's money doesn't come from nowhere, and they're trying to expand.
Well, they do have an advertising, a marketing department, and everything, so they also get.
They
Spiky,
get income.
let me ask you, how many TV stations are in this country? How many advertisers are in this country? Do the math.
It's all well and good, but my argument, especially for GTV, is that
But
you
you see-
had the advantage. How could you squander it and then come and turn to us and say, "Oh, we did yawa"? Because it's the same thing that yes, we have to put forward the bill to make it work, but you made it work before. How have you fondled the ball and now come back to us and say, "Oh, we will do it better"?
I think
Clearly,
that-
you've not been
no,
doing it right this
let's
time.
let's also not forget the fact that there's a basic monopoly for BBC in the UK, which GTV doesn't have.
Well, they had. That's another thing that they squandered. You had that monopoly.
But we opened our market. You can't just walk into the UK
No,
and say I
fair
want a
enough.
TV channel the way you can do in Ghana.
You open the
wow.
market.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, do you know how many TV stations? Like I said, almost every church in Ghana has a TV station now.
You opened it, but the thing is, you were there first. You were the biggest, and granted, now you had to run a competition. But then you felt that
With a head start, you still lost.
yes, you were you were
Why did this
old
remind me
DC.
of that race in the
You were
Olympics?
old Ronaldo.
Nigeria.
to use a football analogy, you were. I can't even say it. Imagine that. I'm
Do you
showing
know
my.
football, though?
I'm showing my age. I'll say it. Yeah, you're old Ronaldo, not zero. What do you call
World Ronaldo.
it? Yeah. Wow. Right.
World Ronaldo.
Then you are at the top of your game, and then suddenly you had to share the pitch with other players younger and faster and stronger than you. You didn't know that at the time, but you thought, oh, things will be the same forever. You still be on top of them. Now you can't run. You've grown 12 sizes. You can't run. You can still dribble if they give the ball to you, but you cannot keep pace with them, and they will shake you for everything you are worth now. And you have no one to blame by yourself because you underestimated the environment you're in because you thought things will remain the same. And now suddenly you've come to us for what essentially was a crowd-funded bailout that, oh, come and help us make it better. I will trim myself down. Like, we didn't even see any proof of that. Because if you came to us and said, okay, we need money to make better content, but the thing with better content is that it requires a huge investment, and for it to look as good, we need a lot of money. How do we prove that to
You
you?
want proof of concept.
One.
Okay.
One. Every creator who's listening can attest to this because you've all been asked to make the most impossible thing happen when your client pitches to you to do something. You're listening.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, you guys are really firing shots at
Oh,
me.
I am Charlie. But we are in this thing together because we sat at the other end of this conversation where you need something, you need to make an example of it. You can't make the full thing, obviously, but you need to make one small, high quality example.
Basically, you
And
need to perform magic.
You need to perform magic with absolute nothing, with zero. And you do. And it is great. And eventually it works out and becomes its own thing. But here we are the small kids, we are working with zero. You guys are not working with zero. But still, you can't stand up to us and then come and say, oh, if you pay a TV license, we can do it better. This is why we struggled.
Well,
And on that bombshell,
before the bombshell, let me give the final update on
on the poll.
On the poll. So it's evening out. I watch local TV stations currently at 59%,
Right.
and I stream content on TV is 41%, and that's with 112 votes.
This is
Wow.
how the other stations came and passed you by. It's the exact same way.
Right, and on that actual bombshell, we come to the end of another episode of Geek Squad. Thank you very much, Raymond. Thank you very much, Kofi. And thank you, Michael and Winston. It was a very, very insightful conversation. We will be continuing this on... Yeah, I know, Michael. We'll be continuing this on Sunday on Joy News, where we'll get some in-depth. I want Raymond and, Kofi to show me how the broadcasting happens out of the studio, like the background. We need people to see it. All the encoding and the transcoding and
the
the
Minority
OTT
Report
and
stuff.
the minority. Yes, that's. So thank you very much. We ran out of the time. Don't forget to vote for me, EMY Africa Awards. Just go to Instagram.com/EMY Africa and double tap on my picture to vote. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. Catch you next week on another episode of Geek Squad.